Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home. It is a beautiful early summer day and I thought it would be a great day for a garden tour. So I hope you join us. Well, it's finally started to warm up here. I'm living in southern Connecticut in zone 7A. And yesterday we got up to about 88 degrees and today it's 86. Humidity is a little bit high. We're supposed to get rain tomorrow. And we had the summer solstice this week. We also had Midsummers Day just yesterday. That's the day where traditionally farmers would celebrate all of the crops being planted and everybody looking forward to the harvests of the fall and drinking and merriment and bonfires and all of that. Of course, we don't do that here, but many places across the world do. So I thought I'd start on this side of the garden today. This is where I have my cherry tomatoes. And as you can see, here we're just starting to get some cherry tomatoes growing. This is a variety called Midnight Snacker. So the tomatoes are quite black. I'm not really sure when they're going to be ready. Try to keep my shadow out of here. I actually had to move. I used to have them lined up against this wall here, but I moved them so they could get more sun. Then we've got broccoli that's still coming in. What I've been doing is, as I've been harvesting the heads, I've mostly been pulling the plants just to give some more air and light to the tomatoes behind them. They're doing nicely. We've got some flowers. So I'm looking forward to seeing those babies grow. I've been picking the chamomile flowers every day when I come out. And we've got the calendula here. Cauliflower looks like it's going to be doing something because all of the heads started kind of growing upright. Borage looks beautiful. Coming over here, we've got a pepper growing. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. I've got 3 different kinds of beans growing here in the middle. Garbanzo beans. I did have to tie them up. We've got some cannelloni beans. And then back there are kidney beans. I put the basil in between in here. Beautiful nasturtium plant. What a lovely color that is. The potatoes just starting to bud. After they bud and the flowers die off, the foliage starts to get a little bit yellow, and that's when you know it's time to harvest your potatoes. The pumpkin is growing very nicely. That's grown probably about a foot within the last week or so. Got beets coming up. Got some butternut squash. I'm leaving this space open after I harvest the garlic, which have really fallen back and it's probably time for me to harvest them. But I'm leaving this space open for some zucchini. This is my volunteer potato plant. More beets, another butternut squash, little borage, the artichoke over there. There's a little tiny maple tree growing next to the artichoke, and I'm going to be transplanting that into this little pot to see if I can get it to grow. It's a Japanese maple. Just kind of decided to grow there. These potatoes are turning out nicely too. And this is still the Brussels sprouts that overwintered. I haven't pulled them yet because I'm not ready to plant more potatoes. I probably will do that this week. Moving over here, I had shown you in a video last week me planting these beans for the Three Sisters garden, and they have grown very quickly. And I think it's because we've finally gotten the heat. As you can see, I planted these back in May, the red noodle beans, and these pole beans are bigger. And I just planted them last week. I've pulled some of the broccolis out of here rather than wait for them to start side shooting. I just wanted to give more air. But the three that are left, they're still forming their heads. And the cabbage, that's forming a head, and that one's forming a head. And I think they'll probably go pretty quickly now that it's getting hot. The peas are still doing well. I did pull 3 plants yesterday that had turned brown and died. Those were some of the earlier plants. That's why it's nice to have a succession. Plant some early, plant some a little bit after that, plant some a little bit after that, and you've got a consistent crop. Everything on the deck is doing pretty well. This is my Just a Fig named Sue plant. It's a fig given to me by my friend Sue. Look at all the nice new growth on that. It's liking its spot. Why don't you drink some water? It's right there. I mean, it's right there. Drink some water. Drink some water. All right. Zinnias. That's a good girl. I've got a zinnia bud. I love my zinnias. It's butterfly bush. I think it likes its spot over here. It's sunny, but it does get a break in the middle of the day. Dahlias. Pretty rose. I transplanted kind of in a row going down this shade garden here. All of the chamomile that had volunteered from last year, because I discovered that chamomile doesn't mind the shade and actually kind of likes it. So they're still a little stunted from transplanting, and I'm hoping they'll fill out. Here's a volunteer dill plant that just decided to grow with the Solomon seal. Over here underneath the tree, which gets good sun in the morning, I put in more of the winter squash. I started a lot of winter squash. I don't know. And then once they're in the pot, I really can't just get rid of them. So everything needs a drink of water. It's been rather dry lately. Those are impatiens, more zinnia in the back. And then look at this lavender. It's, to be honest with you, I never expected these to bush out as much as they have. One is French and one is English, and I'm not sure which is which. I think these are the French ones. And these are the English ones. I'm not sure. But I'm going to be harvesting those, making some sachets from them later after they dry. And I'm going to be shooting a video to show you how I harvest the lavender. Under the lavender, which will start getting plenty of sun again once I harvest them, are some nasturtium. The echinacea or cone flowers are starting to bloom. Then I had a bunch of carrots and onions that I sowed in here. I finally put this little fence up to keep Lady from digging up in there. Here's the Asiatic lily. After I rescued it from those horrible lily leaf beetles, it's been doing very well. It's kind of proof that you kind of have to be on these things. And these are the little babies, the new plants that sprouted just underneath the mama. And then coming around here, in here we've got a sunflower or two, leeks, eggplants that are blooming, cucumbers that I'm training to go up that cattle panel, peas, which should not get as large as the peas in the other bed. Again, probably has something to do with light. Cilantro or coriander, although it's starting to go to seed, so it's technically going to be coriander. Parsley. Carrots. And what's left of my radishes. These are French breakfast radishes. They're probably ready to, this one's probably ready to harvest. I will say it's very difficult to get into this corner and weed. So I'm hoping the leeks will just survive through the weeds, and if it gets really bad, I'll just have to move the fencing around and get up there. Here's a leek flower in bloom, and look how pretty that is. This one's about to bloom. So is this one. If you remember, these are the leeks that I overwintered and decided to leave in the ground so that they could bloom. Got a little boar edge here. Nasturtium and marigold. These are my slicing tomatoes. Here we have one starting and a bunch of flowers. And this is Berkeley tie-dye. I harvested the big Romanesco broccoli that was in here. Just the stump is left. That was delicious. That was probably the best broccoli I ever had. It was actually more like a combination of cauliflower and broccoli is what it tasted like, but it was so soft and tender. It took up so much space. Not sure if it's worth, for one head, dedicating that much space to it, but it did overwinter, so the celery is all in bloom. And it now tastes terrible. But I'm going to try to harvest the seeds. That is a technically real bloomin' onion. Here's some more that are blooming too. I put basil in here. That's the volunteer nasturtium. These are the onions that I planted. I started from seed this winter, and I planted them this spring. This is the dill that volunteered. Thank you very much. About to bloom. Here's some cabbage that really just started growing. They're so far behind the ones in the bed with the corn, and they were planted the same time, and I think the only real difference was the lack of light due to the big Romanesco broccoli that was there. Here's another broccoli. I had harvested its head, and I was kind of waiting to see if there were any side shoots that are just tiny little broccoli heads that, you know, can eat, and they're delicious. Okay, so now we're up on the deck, and I wanted to show you what the green stalk looks like now. I have pulled out some of the lettuces that had gone to seed, which I'll show you in another video how you know it's time to pull them. But we still have some that I'm harvesting off of. I picked the outer leaves for dinner. This way it continues to grow. And I'm only picking what I need. I'm noticing something today on this calendula, which I'm not happy about, which is, I don't know if you can see them. Yep, there you go. They're black aphids. And they're eating where it's supposed to bloom. So I'm going to have to treat that with something, because in the past I've had ladybugs that come and take care of aphids, and I have not seen any yet in the garden. Anyway, I replaced some of the lettuce with things like basil, sage, some catnip, and in the pockets that I left empty, I'm going to be sowing another succession of parsley and dill and coriander. And then over here, are the herb containers. The basil, the thyme is flowering. Isn't that pretty? I love the violet against the oranges of the marigolds. So pretty. Found aphids on this nasturtium plant as well. Nasturtium is supposed to act as a trap crop, so hopefully these aphids are keeping to the nasturtium and not going on to my other plants like my herbs, because that would be even worse. Lemon balm. The dill is really dry now, and if you can see all the way up there, I don't know if you can see, there are some seeds starting to form on the heads, so I'm going to collect those soon. Parsley growing up in there. The chives. More thyme. The rosemary. And then we've got a whole bunch of oregano, catnip, and more thyme back here, which I haven't got to take care of too much. They're growing, they're fine, but it's behind the mini greenhouse, so I'll be taking that down soon. And then down here I've got a bunch of lettuce that I had started, and actually I've been harvesting them instead of transplanting them. I'm just keeping them here. They're happy in the shade. I have these trays covering them from the sun. And then of course we have Mr. Mancini, the pepperoncini, who is very happy in his spot over here. Although he's had a bunch of flowers, I really haven't seen any development of peppers, which is kind of concerning to me. I have a feeling it may have just grown too rapidly and it's been putting its energy into growth instead of fruit. So I'm hoping that it'll slow down a little bit so that it has time to grow that fruit. The paprika's doing well. This guy was such a slow starter. I was worried about him, and I actually threw him in a small pot because I didn't really have much hope for him, but he's doing well. And the strawberries, a lot of them have ripened already, and I've been eating them. But I have a couple of more buds. I noticed last year that I had a good flush in the spring, and then through the summer it's kind of light on the strawberries, but then in the fall they started coming back again. And then the blueberries. They're starting to ripen, and I've also noticed that there have been some birds that have shown a little bit too much attention to them. Yeah, I'm gonna pick this one right here. Yep. The way you know that fruit is ready to pick, obviously with the color, but also how easily it comes off of the leaf. If there's some resistance there, let it ripen a little bit longer. Oh, that was good. Well, I hope you liked this video. It was fun to tour the garden with you and show you the progress. And we'll have much more to come in the next couple of weeks, especially when we start harvesting. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And I hope you subscribe and hit the alert bell so you'll see when more videos come out. From the Ladies Garden and Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye! Say goodbye, lady. Lady says goodbye.